Live with Rex. And some of you are probably already thinking, right, he's done one part today, he's probably going to do a third, since this is the second. I'm going to try and avoid that. I'm going to basically, I've charged my phone up quite a bit while away. I even went out and grabbed some things. So we're at 84%, which means you could probably get I can get roughly 3 hours out of that. It's 1 o'clock. My goal is to, I'm not going to take a break. I want to get it done. I want to get things completed. So the current thing I'm doing is getting everything onto the bed so I can more appropriately sift through things. I'll tell you one thing. See the amount of space that I now have due to this layout is brilliant. Like, not just shelving space. Like, I do, as much as I enjoyed the way the shelving was, I regret choosing shelving over, you know, having the room be kind of normal. I'm going to put these 2 IKEA shelves back here. It's not that I'm going to not use them, it's I'm not planning to do the shelving today. That will kind of be spread out for other streams. Look, if I find the time to get onto it, I'll do it. So I'm going to get a cold drink and we're going to get right into this because it's a warm day. I've got the window open and everything. But by doing this, I'll be able to go through and organise a hell of a lot better. So it means I don't have to sift through on the floor, it's all there, it's all accessible. But it can give me a better idea of how much floor space I've got to work with as well. I'm also going to quickly go throw out this bag. It's got another one just for throwing out some things. Some things I'm just getting rid of. Yeah, cool. Right, I'm back. So that'll help us quickly open the window a bit more. Because it is rather warm. But we're doing alright so far with this project. I mean, look, if I wasn't work today, this would have been even worse. Like, I would have been coming home late to mess that I wouldn't have the time to clean up because I'd be having to sleep for the next again shift. So we are getting somewhere with this. Slowly, but it's going, we're making progress. Essentially, there will be no more breaks with the live. I'm going to stay live until I've got this done. Or until, you know, my phone decides, right, we're done with the battery, time to end the stream. Which to be fair could happen. But I charged it up a good bit before doing the stream. Just get everything where I need it to be. This is the better way of doing the room. Yeah, so I had to ditch some of the shelves, but in many more ways it would be it'll be beneficial in other ways. I'll throw that here. So I'll be answering comments and stuff, usual stuff, but I will not be putting a giant focus on it on this stream. I just really want to get through all this. But yesterday we got the shelving and stuff sorted, so that was a big step in the right direction. And also, I should probably mention, due to things spilling here and there while we were doing this yesterday, I have a shit ton of Lego parts on the floor that I need to pick up and organise and do something with. So I was making a lot. There's also still the stuff in the other room that we need to deal with, but my plan is to just get all that, through all of it today. So to that point where it's really just Lego bricks on the floor we need to pick up and go through. So I do have an empty pick-a-brick cup somewhere that I put aside. If I can remember, brilliant, I've forgotten. Trust me, the streams are usually a lot more organised than this. It's just the nature of what we're doing. In our stream earlier, we put up all them back shelves and got all that sorted out, which is great. Right then, one second, I'm trying to figure out where I've put these pick-a-brick cups, because I'd put a few of them to the side, because I knew I'd need them. There they are. I'm just going to get as much of this. I don't have to organise it right now, but just as long as it's off the floor, I am happy. I didn't want to do this today. I was tempted just to lie in bed and like, no, because then this becomes an, rest of the week project, and I'd rather it wasn't. So I'll just talking to you guys, and now as I've got my other pick-a-brick cup here too, just start getting all these bricks up and organised. As well as, other things I may encounter. The shelving for the Lego will look a mess for the kind of next couple of days, I'd imagine. I don't see myself tackling those tonight, and because I'm working an entire, full day tomorrow, I will be working 7 AM till, I think, 9:30 PM. So, I'd rather not, I'd rather leave this a little bit messy than continue through an entire night and then be absolutely, buggered, dead for work the next day. So that's kind of what I'm thinking with that. There we go, we're getting through this. So I'm at this point just dumping everything into these pick-a-brick cups. I will sort through them at some point, just not today. I just want the mess off the floor. The main thing we still have to do is in the other room in regards to the boxes and stuff as well. So, there's a few things we still got to do. Just 1 second, we'll get all this up. Those two screws will be helpful to the side. Yeah, not my most exciting stream, but I'm still getting content out, which is great. I want to thank everyone who's watching, because my watch time and my subscribers have been going through the roof lately, so very happy with that. Also got the set vote going for what we're going to build for the 4,000 subscriber stream, so feel free to check that out if you get a chance. Right, getting somewhere. I'm just gonna. We don't need to keep shadow there. I don't need to keep any of that. That can just go there for now. That's fine. But my goal is to be done by the end of this stream. So basically, see, once my phone gets to 15% and it starts going, hey, battery warnings, Normally my phone's fine there, but see when you're streaming, it uses the battery up quicker, so there's that. I plan to be done for the day. So that's as much time as I want to put in. It's been a long time since I've done an entire day shift, or a shift that lasts the entire working day, so I'd rather have a good amount of, rest and sleep for that. Right, so it's just this little pile here I need to do, and then that will be us. At least for this little bit of the flooring getting all sorted out, and which would be great because there's a bunch of tacks that's spilled, so I want to be really careful when moving my hands. That was an unfortunate thing that must have happened at some point last night when we were moving things about, and I just didn't notice until, 2 minutes ago. So yeah. I've got the screws. I could put up another wall shelf over there if I really wanted. I might actually. That would be ideal because I reckon that would work out space wise. In fact, you know what? Now that I've put the idea in my head, now that I've managed to get the screws together for it, I kind of really want to know. Right, not perfect, but it's a big improvement on where we started. So there we go, that's immediate progress. Like I said, I still do have all the Lego set boxes that I usually keep under the bed. They're still in the other room from when I moved them for what we were doing yesterday, so I will still have to go and get that. I'll tell you one thing, the new layout does allow for a lot of space. I'm gonna go get that other shelf because I might even have. I'm sure if I've got two more, that would really nicely just line up. We need to go check now. Now that I've said that, we have to. Find out how good this is. Can it fit or am I? Right. Since I put the idea in the head and basically gaslit myself, I need to know if I can fit this in that gap. Coming along then, that would be really good. It means I can order another one and it'll look really good. Off by like an inch. Unless I put it there, which kind of works but also looks kind of stupid. It works. I have to put it at that angle. It's still straight, it still works out, I just have to do it a certain way. I'm gonna drink and tell you what, we'll stop and quickly get that done. I'll make the sorting process easier because there's all another place to put things. Where did I put that damn drill? And don't tell me I've buried it. Oh crap, I probably have. I hate working with me. Why do I get stuck with me with these jobs? That is there. That is it there. Perfect. But essentially, this is what most of this stream's going to end up being. benefit is, right, I've got to lean it on. Which means if I have another one sitting around, it has to also do that angle thing, but hey, it's an extra shelf. It's probably best it does that anyway, because it comes right across, it obstructs the curtain, so I mean, this works out probably the best way actually. Right, one more screw and it's good to go. I'm glad I thought of that. Put this other screw in and I'll show you what the hell I'm on about. Problem solved. I'll show you now what I've got put up there. Progress is going. So we've got another one there. It does have to do this thing where it overlaps this one, just because the gap. But I can do that one up there as well, because I'm sure I might have another one of these. But you know, it's a nice bit of consistency for stuff, so I like it. Right. A bit of Lego here that still has to be gotten, and you know, I'm looking at one of my sets. It's the 2012 Gundam Sub, because it's sat in a shadowy area for the last 6 months. I didn't notice, but now I am. Like, I need to go buy some grey parts for it to stop. That has got some yellowing on it. So I think I'll be on Bricklink after this stream, because that looks bad. Especially considering it's going to have the Queen Padme minifigure, that really rare one, sitting next to it. So I want it to look good. Sorry, I'm just not saying much. I'm just quickly trying to focus on the carpet, make sure I'm getting as much of this up as possible. I don't want any of this flying around, obviously. It doesn't help that the sail barge, the big UCS one, decided it wanted to explode yesterday, so that's not particularly helped things. I have some gaming posters I can actually put between those slits, rather than those Japanese Star Wars ones, because those ones have not fared well. Right, let's see. This is the Vice City poster, isn't it? Alright, that it is. It is the Vice City poster. made to fit. I've also got the GTA 3 poster as well. I think I've got the episodes of Liberty City Stories ones as well, so we can throw those in. I'll put that there just now. I'm actually quickly going to check. I want to know now, because I'm sure I do have the posters for those games. I would hide those rough bits as well. That we do. Perfect. I've got that one. And Grand Theft Auto 3 is where? There was not a poster inside that. Damn it. Son of a... Right. I'm gonna have to think on that one. I'll put those two up just now anyway. Whether I put the box of tacks, what's left of it. Well, come on, brain, figure it out. Welcome my streams, or apparently I feel the need to criticise my brain. That's fun. I'll find them as I go, unless I put them up here near. Great. I've also got the poster for the Getaway Black Monday, so that's an option. It's not a GTA game, but it can work there quite well. It's basically one of the best GTA games that's not GTA, if that makes sense. If you've ever played the game Black Monday, or the Getaway and the Getaway Black Monday, both games are really good. So I'm just doing some organising around this bit here. I know I keep getting distracted by the thoughts of doing other things while doing this, putting up posters and what have you, but with me that's kind of part of the course. Just that set imploded, or rather, exploded everywhere when it came apart, so I'll probably be finding brown pieces for a little while. And on a darker colour carpet, you do have to look a good bit to find them. There's a high chance I'll just sell that set on eBay, spares and repairs or something. I do not have the drive or the motivation to put that bit back together. Not to mention, I know that it's now going to be missing parts. So it's one of those sets where I'd kind of rather just cut my losses. Right. Okay, alright, we've established where we're at. So, I think we're going to start going through this. So I'm not going to keep this pick-a-brick box. That's gone. There's no... I don't see any point to holding on to that. So that's gone. Put the bag of things and get rid of there. I said these two posters we will put up at some point in the stream. They're going to go up the top of here just so they're safe. That's sorted. Also, I'm going to keep a hold of that. That's something that I'm going to put in storage, so I'll put it there. Here, if some of you guys might relate, know what these are. Who remembers these from maybe like 15 years ago? Credit crunchers, the weird like credit cards with weird stuff on them. Like random nonsense. I don't know where that's going, but I'll keep a hold. That'll probably be a storage thing. Those can go there for now. That is a belt. Something I probably should have mentioned at the start of the stream. The only other reason I'll be ending it is if I get a work phone call, which, to be completely honest, I am heavily anticipating happening. Right, I'm going to put these over here. See, there we go. We're already getting somewhere with all of this. And I'm still finding part of the sail barge. This is one of the kind of steering things from it. I'll put that Star Wars VHS up there for now. So this here, right, this is one of the bases of one of those, you can buy them with like Temu and stuff, those minifig cases that I had. They're not very good quality, they do fall apart. I did, however, keep the base of it. I don't know why, but I've got this feeling that I can use it some way eventually. There'll be some creative way of doing something with it. I can go there for now. This can go up here. Again, if I'm putting it on the shelf that you guys are sitting on, that's purely a temporary thing. A lot of what's happening is not set in stone, but it's just so I have a general organisation and I know where the hell some things are. So for me, this makes sense. I'll put the VHS in there for now. I've still got the 2006 Lego Star under the bed, as well as I need to put the boxes back there and stuff, so there's still ways to go with certain parts of this. There we go. I've put these little drawers up here for now. Right, go there for now until I figure out what I'm doing with that. Just reorganising my shelving, and I've been changing up the place. Been doing this over multiple streams. It's just a project that's taken a while because I've moved the entire place around. Right. That is a thing we're going to get rid of. That is a thing that I will store away. That I will keep. That's going. That's going. That's my work ID. I don't know why the hell I've got it there. But yeah, welcome to the stream. I don't know if you're new here, but welcome. Are you? I can go there for now. This I need to probably, that might just be a storage item for now. I do want to put it up on the wall, I've just not got round to it. That can go over here. This is the other poster I was on about, the Getaway Black Monday one. So that is a brilliant game. So all this here will probably be storage. This box, we're not going to keep because it's from a set I'm not the biggest fan of. Besides, I do plan to army build some of the figures from this, so if I do end up buying another one, I'll just keep the box from that because this box is in rough condition anyway. If you're new here, we are a Lego channel. Primarily, my main shelving's behind you. We're currently in the process of moving things about, changing things up, so the place does look a bit of a mess. That is something I'm getting rid of. This is one of the tops for those drawers. I'm going to store those away in case I would like to separate the drawers again, because that's handy to keep. Plus, I'm being Stanley branded ones, that means they're good quality as well. That's another sail barge piece I need to deal with. This is a box of things I do need to put away in storage. One of the few lightsabers I do have. This is a gift from a fellow YouTuber, Terrakiller T1. This is a Mace Windu saber. Go there for now. We've got a Lego set box, but I'm just going to throw it up here temporarily. It's a box for the 2012 Battle for Geonosis. Pretty cool bit there. Got my tape measure. I'm just going to throw that there because I will probably need it again soon. That's going to go there too. These are some boots. I need to figure out what I'm doing with those so they can go there. There's something I built years ago. I'm just going to throw it up here for now. This is the bag for the sail that the sail barge is currently in. The desert skiff for that set is in there too. There more sail barge parts I find I can just throw in. Again, I am very tempted just to cut my losses on that set because I just don't particularly feel like putting that one back together. Hey there. Don't worry, half an hour in. Well, feels like we're getting somewhere anyway. It's not been a waste of a half an hour. So that is a storage item. That book should be going in storage. That's something I'm going to throw out. These are storage. I say storage, I'm just going to go into the bed when I get around to doing all that kind of stuff. That's going out completely. I don't need that, nor do I have the attachments for it. 360 controller, that's going up here. This is some of the equipment I use for recording the main videos on here. It's going to go there for now. I'm going to put that in the shed. I'm going to put some background noise on. I can't have any music or actually TV shows or anything on.
Were used to help find the remains of the Admiral Scheer, which I can assure you, all of those are way above my head. The report concludes by stating the photo from March 29, 1949, represents the state which the Admiral Scheer was buried, where they claim large parts of the hull and superstructure have been preserved through being buried under 3 meters or about 10 feet of sand and debris. You should really go take a look at the paper. It's very interesting. And they have some of the models they made using the scans. Which are amazing. So basically, the ship remained in place because there was no point in moving her, and the remains were useful in rebuilding Kiel. An interesting end to that vessel. As for the Prince Eugen, on July 1st, 1946, the first post-war atom bomb test was carried out on a group of 11 warships, including the heavy cruiser. Prince Eugen proved resilient to the blast, and there was little damage.
Put that way in storage.
This being test-able, although all animals were killed aboard the vessel. To take from heavy cruisers of the Admiral Hipper class, warships of the Kriegsmarine.
Right, that's going out. Sorry, I got a little bit distracted there.
Device exploded on July 25th. The second A device exploded on July 25th was an underwater bomb, Test Baker. The ship remained afloat, but was heavily irradiated. As a result, the intention to repair and recommission her was abandoned, and the hull was towed to port.
That's a storage thing.
Because of the long period she spent in tropical waters, the stuffing glands and outboard vents of the ship began to leak. Attempts were made to beach the Prince Eugen on Ennebuj Island in Kwajalein Lagoon, which ultimately failed when the ship grounded on a coral ledge just offshore. The ship continued to take on water and eventually capsized. Due to the radioactive contamination, not much could be done, and the ship was left where it was. The ship was resurveyed in the 70s and was found to be radiation-free, although the report noted that all ordnance still on board and residual fuel would need to be removed before salvage operations could be carried out. So again, nothing could be done. It did also note that fuel should be removed in the next 30 years, regardless of salvage operations. Several things were salvaged, notably the ship's bell and one of the 2 propellers. This was done by the German Navy League in 1979 and mounted in front of the Naval Memorial at Le Beau. Well, remember how I said fuel needed to be removed? It took until 2018 when a U.S. Navy-led salvage team from the Navy Supervisor of Salvage and Diving successfully removed 229,000 gallons of fuel from 173 tanks on Prince Eugen, using a method called hot tapping. The fuel was pumped into a tanker for disposal and recycling. The tanks were then resealed
No, I'm
so they
back.
did not leak again. But going back to the main question we asked at the beginning,
More
the reason it's
sailboard
still
parts.
there is initially because of the damage
They're at the
from
door.
activity and subsequently a lack of money and interest. Today, the wreck is 80 years old, fragile, and not harmful to the environment. In fact, looking at some of these photos, I'd say she'd become part of the environment. So moving her just isn't feasible. So she'll just sit there with her final resting place being in the Pacific. There you have it, folks. Why those German ships are still in their final resting places. I thought this would be a little different.
Damn you, eBay! Stop trying to
Let
tip
me know if
me.
you want me to do this for more wrecks. I think it could be a series. Anyway,
And sit
thank
down
you
for a
all
moment.
watching.
But we
I
are
hope you enjoyed the
progressing.
video.
There's longer a big
Please
pile of
remember to
things on the
like,
floor.
comment, and subscribe.
It still needs
As well
doing,
help
so
the channel
that is a
grow.
positive.
Until next time, my friends, have an amazing
Berlin, April 1945. Above ground, the city burns. Below it, in the concrete maze of the Führerbunker, the Third Reich reaches its final hours. After the war, one question remains. What becomes of the place where Adolf Hitler spent his last days? The answer is stranger than expected. A story of demolition, denial, and quiet erasure. The story of Hitler's bunker begins not in 1945, but nearly a decade earlier. In 1936, Berlin was preparing for the Olympic Games. Engineers from the Reich Chancellery began constructing an underground air raid shelter beneath the Chancellery Garden on Wilhelmstrasse. It was modest in size, built primarily.
Right, that's done. That's going to be kept.
By 1943, with Allied bombs intensifying, the bunker was expanded and reinforced. The new lower complex, the Führerbunker, was completed in early 1944. It consisted of roughly 30 rooms connected by narrow corridors, protected by nearly 4 meters of reinforced concrete. 2 stairways linked it to the upper Vorbunker and the Chancellery bunker. By the start of 1945, Hitler's empire was collapsing. On January 16, 1945, he and his inner circle, including Martin Bormann, Joseph Goebbels, and secretaries Traudl Junge and Gerda Christian, retreated into the bunker. The upper 4 bunkers served as living quarters for staff and guards, while the lower level became the heart of Hitler's final command post. It held a conference room, telephone exchange, map room, and his personal study. The air was heavy, the corridors narrow and claustrophobic.
Sorry if I'm not saying much. I'm just trying to get through the very last of this stuff that we got here.
Constant dampness from groundwater seepage. Life inside the bunker grew increasingly desperate. Hitler spent long hours poring over maps, issuing orders to armies that no longer existed. Outside, Soviet artillery closed in. By April 20th,
Because we'll have to lift this mattress up again against the wall so that, hey there's, because I'm going to be putting some of my boxes back under. Now, I am getting rid of a few of my set boxes, so some of the more damaged and destroyed ones, they can go.
On April 29, 1945, as Soviet troops advanced within blocks of the Reich Chancellery, Hitler married Eva Braun.
Anything that's modern can go as well.
Small conference room. That same night,
Hey there.
he dictated his political testament, blaming Germany's defeat on his generals and declaring his loyalty to the cause that had destroyed Europe. The following day, April 30th, 1945, he took his own life in his private study alongside Braun. Their bodies were carried up to the garden and burned by staff under Bormann's orders as Soviet shells thundered nearby. In the days that followed, Goebbels and his family also
Right,
died.
my spirit level that we're using for putting up the shelves can just be thrown here.
The remaining occupants attempted to flee or surrender to Soviet forces. When the Red Army reached the ruins of the Chancellery, they found only charred remains, fragments of documents, and the wreckage of what had been the nerve center of Nazi Germany. The Soviets quickly secured the site and began investigations to confirm Hitler's death. For years afterwards, they kept their findings secret, fueling rumors that Hitler had escaped. When the guns finally fell silent in May 1945, Berlin was a wasteland. The Reich Chancellery
Right, this is the bit that I'm dreading, but we've got to get it done. And the fact that I've managed to get to this stage within 40 minutes, I'm quite happy.
Soviet troops discovered the entrance while clearing debris and immediately sealed off the area. For them, the site was both evidence and embarrassment, the last refuge of a defeated dictator. What followed was a mix of secrecy, destruction, and control. In May and June 1944,
Oh,
Soviet
this bit.
forensic teams led
Fun.
by SMERSH, military counterintelligence, entered the bunker to recover remains. They photographed rooms, mapped the layout, and gathered fragments of burned papers. The discovery of dental remains believed to be Hitler's confirmed to them that he had
Right.
though Stalin
Forgot there was other stuff under here, not just the Star Destroyer. There's also a TIE fighter under here.
kept the myth of Hitler's escape alive while highlighting Western intelligence failures. The complex itself posed a different challenge. Berlin, now divided into occupation zones, was rebuilt from the ashes. The Soviets decided the chancellery should be erased. Between 1945 and 49, demolition crews systematically destroyed the above-ground buildings, first by hand and later with explosives. The war was not only practical, clearing ruins for reconstruction, but symbolic, the physical annihilation of the Nazi power center. In December 1947, the Soviet engineers attempted to blow up.
So I need to do this, but this will be great in order to help me get the boxes in. That's one of those phone charging stands I bought.
Some corridors
But
flooded.
not the greatest stream ever, but we're going to get some,
Several more attempts to
finally getting close to being done a lot of stuff I wanted to, that I started.
though rumors persisted of secret tunnels stretching beneath Berlin. By the early 1950s, the East German government inherited the area within its sector. Keen to suppress anything that could become a shrine for sympathizers, it imposed silence. No public signs marked the location. Official maps simply omitted it. Nearby streets were renamed, and the ruins of the Chancellery Garden were flattened and turned into a nondescript stretch of wasteland. Even
Right.
mentioning the bunker was discouraged. It was to vanish from memory as well as from sight. Yet the bunker's ghost lingered. Allied investigators and journalists tried to access it, often relying on second-hand Soviet reports. Early post-war publications like Hugh Trevor Roper's The Last Days of Hitler, 1947, drew heavily on these limited accounts, cementing the image of a subterranean tomb beneath the ruins.
Right, the 2012 TIE fighters under here. The big one that I left under here yesterday just for practical, it was more practical to do it that way, is the 2006 Star Destroyer.
Leaving the bunker buried and out of sight as the city moved on. In the 1960s, as Berlin became the epicenter of Cold War tension, the Fuhrer bunker remained the new East German capital. Officially, it no longer existed. In reality, sections were still laid with layers of concrete and rubble, quietly preserved by the very soil that was meant to erase it. Few East Germans knew its exact location, and those who did, mainly city planners and construction crews, were under strict instruction not to speak of it. The area above the bunker, once the Garden of the Reichschancellery, fell within East Berlin's government border. When the Berlin Wall was built in 1961, it ran only a few hundred meters away, further isolating the site from public access.
Sorry about this, it's not what I want to be doing as content, but it's the best I can give at the moment.
During the 1960s and 70s, construction workers occasionally stumbled upon reinforced walls or sections of the old bunker network. Each time, authorities quickly sealed the openings. One major discovery occurred in 1973 during the building of apartment blocks along Vossstrasse. Engineers accidentally broke through parts of the lower Fuhrer bunker chambers. Rather than excavate or document it, the East German Ministry of State Security, Stasi, ordered the remaining rooms filled with sand and cement. Western historians operating from divided Berlin could only speculate. Rumors spread through both Germany and abroad. Some claimed the Soviets had preserved parts of the bunker for secret study. Others said the entire structure had been obliterated. Throughout the Cold War, East German propaganda avoided mentioning Hitler's last days or the bunker. School textbooks skipped over it entirely. The regime's focus was on anti-fascism and socialist progress, not on the ruins of dictatorship beneath their feet. But in the West, fascism persisted.
But we are getting to the point where I can pull the boxes under here, and that will be the biggest help. Could mean I don't have any more stuff sitting in another room.
In the 1980s, as East Germany approached collapse, its capital began another wave of reconstruction. City plans were modernized and some older districts were mapped more precisely. It was then that historians realized how much of the bunker had survived under the surface. Though heavily damaged and flooded, the reinforced concrete shell still existed. When the Berlin Wall came down in 1989, a buried past resurfaced. As East and West Berlin merged, construction boomed across the city. Bulldozers and survey teams revisited long-ignored plots, including the former Reich Chancellery garden. In 1990, engineers unexpectedly uncovered sections of the Führer bunker's reinforced walls and
Right, it'll
stairwells.
take a moment, but we have gotten a good chunk of that out.
Twisted metal doors and fragments of wartime fittings. For historians, it was a rare physical link to one of history's most infamous sites. For the new government, it posed a moral dilemma: how to deal with the last remnant of Hitler's final refuge. The early 1990s were marked by intense debate. Some argued that the bunker should be excavated and documented before redevelopment erased it completely. Others warned that opening it risked turning the site into a neo-Nazi pilgrimage ground. Berlin's city planners chose the latter path: no monument, no museum, no memorial. The ruins were quietly sealed again in 1992 as new apartment buildings and car parks rose above them. The only trace left visible was an unmarked patch of gravel between modern buildings. Still, curiosity persisted. Historians pieced together the site's layout using wartime blueprints and Soviet photographs. Journalists and documentary filmmakers tracked its shifting legacy. In the late 1990s, the exact coordinates of the bunker became public, sparking a wave of dark tourism. In 2006, ahead of the FIFA World Cup, Berlin installed a small information panel at the edge of the site. The display offered a factual, minimal explanation of the bunker's history, along with diagrams showing its position under the surrounding buildings. It was the first official acknowledgement of the site, designed to inform without glorify. Historians still debate how much of the lower levels survive. Estimates suggest around 15 to 20% of the original concrete shell remains buried. In 2016, the Berlin Story Museum opened a reconstruction of parts of the Führer bunker inside a former air raid shelter a short distance away. The exhibit features replica rooms, including Hitler's working quarters, as well as models, documents, and eyewitness accounts explaining the bunker's design, daily use.
One sec, we're just taking a moment.
It's not the authentic bunker, but it provides a controlled, factual way for visitors to understand how the complex once looked. Today, the bunker survives only as a hidden footprint beneath modern Berlin, sealed, silent, and stripped of symbolism. What was once the regime's final refuge has become part of the everyday city above it. It's a reminder that history's darkest places can fade from view, while their lessons endure.
Right, let's get back to it.
Watch what happened to German U-boats after World War II. Next, a deep look at how the U-boat fleet was captured, studied, and scattered across the world in the aftermath. Like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell for more history inside, and we'll see you in the next one.
Excuse me.
On the afternoon of the 20th of April 1945, the secret operation was underway in the ruined Reich Chancellery in Berlin, above Hitler's Berlin bunker. At 2 p.m., Hitler had appeared from his bedroom in the bunker, dressed in his greatcoat, his collar turned up against the chill air outside. The Führer, looking every one of his 56 years and many more besides, slowly climbed the steps to the Reich Chancellery garden above. There, he walked with his staff to review a collection of Hitler units who had distinguished themselves in the fighting against the Red Army on the Eastern Front, the Red Army having reached the outskirts of Berlin that very morning. While a decrepit
I'm
Hitler
dreading pulling this
shuffled
out of here.
listlessly along the line of teenagers and children, two of his trusted soldier servants were busy moving boxes. The bunker's telephone exchange operator, SS Oberscharführer Rokus Misch, had gone
Let's find out how bad the condition of the underneath of this
Standing
is.
on the steps of the Court of Honor, an outside area, the back of the Reich Chancellery, Rokus Misch watched two SS men hauling heavy boxes into a waiting truck. Misch offered to help them, getting a fair idea that each of the boxes was extremely heavy, but not of its contents. The man in charge of the moving operation was a highly decorated 20-year-old SS Hauptscharführer.
The structure's fine, it's just paneling that's come off.
Arndt, who was a member of the elite Leibstandarte SS Adolf Hitler,
All very fixable.
SSAH, had an unusually close relationship with the Führer, and one of Hitler's secretaries noted that Arndt would spend hours on end talking to Hitler inside his bunker.
The escape pod's falling out, but this set has a little bit of a leak underneath.
Arndt had been declared medically unfit and had become a popular member of Hitler's staff, serving as one of his valets.
But as you can see, I do need to fix the 06 Star Destroyer, but it is not completely wrecked. Like the set itself, its main, all the technique is fine, so I'm not worried. However, I need a place to put the damn thing.
Then disappeared back inside the Reich Chancery, only to emerge minutes later.
Can I? Is this gonna work? No.
And had a camouflage smock over his uniform. Each also being armed with an MP40 machine pistol. Loaded up, the truck drove out of the Chancery's Court of Honor and began its mission. Arndt was a key element in Operation Seraglio, a desperate attempt to move important persons and documents out of Berlin, soon to be completely surrounded by Soviet forces, and relocate this material and this personnel to the Second Reich Chancery at Berchtesgaden in southern Bavaria, or the nearby Nazi leader's village in Obersalzberg. These preparations were being made to ensure that when Hitler decided to leave Berlin and fly south to direct the war from the bunkers beneath his private house, the Berghof of the Obersalzberg, everything would be ready to receive him and his closest staff.
Continuing on.
Hitler's personal pilot organized Operation Seraglio, mustering the remaining aircraft of Hitler's personal transport squadron, some 10 planes in all. Rear Admiral von Puttkamer, Hitler's naval aide, was given specific instructions to empty the safes at the Berghof that contained official correspondence and burn them. Flew south aboard Hitler's personal Focke-Wulf FW-200 Condor, and among the passengers was Hitler's doctor.
What else we got under this?
Carried with him an army footlocker.
Oh, there is more Star Destroyer part. That thing.
Condor flew from Berlin.
It's a good set, but it does have a weak underbelly.
Several other aircraft.
This is the whole part here I'm on about.
And a few also went north to where the German Grand Admiral Karl Dönitz had established his military headquarters in northern Germany. The question that often arises is whether Hitler himself could have escaped by air from Berlin at this time. The answer is yes, but he chose not to at this time, as he still issued orders to his hollowed-out armies attempting to effect the relief of Berlin. This is not to say that plans had not been made to evacuate Hitler and his closest staff should he have ordered it. Martin Bormann had seen to these plans. A large Junkers Ju-290 that had recently been added to the Führer squadron to replace Hitler's Condor waited on standby outside Berlin until the 30th of April 1945. Piloted by Hauptmann Heinz Braun, by the time of Hitler's death on the 30th of April 1945, there was no way the 290 could have actually reached Berlin, as all of the airfields had fallen to the Soviets. However, the passenger manifest for this aircraft, dated the 21st of April 1945, has survived. 23 passengers.
Right, those are gone, I don't need those.
On that day, they were Hitler and Eva Braun, Dr. Goebbels, his wife and 6 children.
Oh, there's another Lego set under here.
Müller and Gestapo.
Hopefully this one is not badly damaged.
Hitler's SS
And it's the 2008 Twilight, which is not damaged. That's good. It's missing one of its guns, but I already know where that is.
The deputy commander of the Führer squadron, SS Obersturmbannführer Betz.
It's one of those sets I've had for many years that could do some new grey parts at the front. I don't know how that set looks that way. That set's been not been anywhere near lights for most of the time. Or windows.
On the 2nd of May 1945, Captain Braun, now relieved of his task to evacuate Hitler and his wife, flew the Ju-290 to Königgrätz in Czechoslovakia to await orders. On the 8th of May 1945, the day Germany surrendered, Braun loaded his aircraft with 70 German women and children and flew to Munich and surrendered to the Americans. But of all the evacuation flights as part of Operation Seraglio, the final one has generated the most interest and intrigue.
This is awkward because it goes down.
Zinc-lined boxes, escorted by the SS NCO's
Let's make it the last of the stuff.
Some 10 miles from the Reich Chancery and Hitler's bunker to Schönwalde Airfield to make the special rendezvous. Other trucks and cars had already arrived at Schönwalde and offloaded cargo and passengers. At the airfield were 3 large Junkers Ju-352s, positioned inside earthen revetments to try and protect them from Allied bombs. The airfield sirens had already sounded on the evening of the 20th of April. The Allies launched a final
Right,
air
I'll pull this
raid on
box out
Berlin
as well.
before such attacks would become too much of a risk to the Soviet ground forces in Veliki City. The Junkers crews had taken shelter until 2 a.m. on the 21st of April, the all clear was sounded. 2 of the 352s were then pulled by oxen to the takeoff position. There had been insufficient fuel left to waste on
There we go.
junkers. Then
That
the
box
cargo
is
and
out.
passengers
That box contains
to arrive
sets
and to be loaded.
as well as most of the money.
Ju-352 was a strange-looking beast, a development of the famous Junkers Ju-52 tri-motor transport. Known as the Hercules in Luftwaffe service, only 50 were built, designed to make maximum use of non-strategic materials.
Oh, hey there.
Unlike the Ju-52 and its successor,
Honestly, man, the amount of episodes of the streams I've done, I don't see myself doing that anytime soon. I've decided there'll be a 3rd stream today. So I'm going to want to sit down for a bit.
Ju-52 design, the Type had a large rear loading ramp for
I'm
easy
trying not
access.
to.
With a crew of 3 and a range of about 1,000 miles, it was considered an unsatisfactory and inferior design to its earlier incarnations. On the 21st of April, 2 of the 352s were prepared for a mission. Loaded up with crates, passengers...
Right, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to end the stream now. I'm going to come back at 3 because I'm going to go spend some time in the other room going through boxes and stuff. And I'm not going to bring you guys with me or anything like that. But I'll see you guys at 3 o'clock.